These people that's in your life that ain't doing nothing. Get away from people in your life that's hating. Get away from your family members that ain't ever opened a business. Get away from your family members that ain't ever followed their dreams. Get away from your family members that ain't never been nowhere but to the family reunion. They ain't never been to a beach. Get away from them.
Sometimes God will put an enemy in your life to keep you stirred up. He'll allow critics, doubters, discouragers, even some haters. So when you feel tired and think you want to give up, you'll keep pressing forward, shaking it off, not because you feel like it, but because you don't want to give your enemies the joy of seeing you defeated. Not out of spite, not out of pride. God uses the negative to keep us stirred up.
There is no worse feeling than that of invisibility. You know, when you are doing your very best and it goes unrecognized, it makes it kind of harder to want to keep doing it. And when you feel unseen, especially by the people whose attention and approval you crave the most, it can create a compulsion in your life to start doing things that are not even really consistent with your character in order to receive from people a confirmation that can be taken away just as easily as it was given.
Don't be fooled by all that fake love. Don't be fooled by these phony smiles. Their hugs, their I love yous. Snakes in the grass slithering. You hear them coming a mile away. I can smell them, sniff them, I can see them, I can taste them. Some of you get blinded by them. Your so-called friends, your so-called homies, your so-called partners, your so-called girls. They there for you when everything's great. They're there for you when you ballin'. They're there for you when you rollin'. They're there for you when you got money. They're excited, girl, we gonna do this, man, bro, where we going tonight? Sad story is that when you up, they're all riding with you. When you down, there's nobody in the car with you.
You are the company that you keep. Meaning, your circle of friends is an indication of who you actually are, who you are becoming. You show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Because it's just true. The people you surround yourself with are shaping your future. Someone say, check your circle. It's important who you are aligning yourself with. Walk with the wise and become wise. For a companion of fools suffers harm. That's good news. If you lack wisdom today, get around people that are wise. But look what the second part says. It says literally that a companion of fools suffers harm. Have you ever considered the reason why you're always hurt is because all of your friends are fools?
If you're a person where all your friends come to you with their problems, that's because they see something in you. You're more balanced and stable. But you got to remember this old saying. If you're the smartest person in your group, you need a new group.
Some of my enemies, I feel like I need to write them a check. If they hadn't have been against me, I wouldn't have prayed so hard. If they hadn't have made fun, I would have given up sooner. If they hadn't have told me I couldn't do it, didn't have what it takes, might have been complacent, settled where I was. It was their opposition that pushed me forward. Many times, God will use your enemies to catapult you to success more than your friends.
You spend your life performing for a crowd, it'll kill you. And you're like, I'm good. I'm not a preacher. I'm not a singer. I don't perform for people. It's gotten much deeper than that now. It's the feeling that we get when we start offering ourselves up in a form that is more impressive to people, but is not authentic to us. Is the mode that we all get tempted to get into when we start trying to bring a version of ourselves to a situation that we think will make a good impression.
Here's how you know if someone's your friend. A, you can tell them bad news and they'll listen. They won't tell you why, you're stupid and why that bad thing happened to you and how something worse happened to them once and, derail the whole conversation. It's like, go away from that person. They're not helpful to you and they're not helpful to themselves either. You got to surround yourself with people who want the best for the best part of you. And that's a really good way of deciding who you should have around you.
Don't complain about the person that betrayed you. If they walked away, they didn't set you back. they set you up for the fullness of your destiny. If they lied about you, tried to push you down, overlooked you, it may not have been fair. But if God allowed it, He knows how to use it for your good.
Do not be misled. So don't sit around and be like, I think this is what's going on. No, wait, this is maybe what's happening. You don't have to come up with theories. Don't be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Have you ever stopped to consider the reason why you're never able to finish anything you start is not because you're not gifted. It's not because you're not talented. The reason why you can't finish it is because you lack character. Because every time you step out, you don't have the stuff it takes to finish. Yet the only way you're going to get rid of bad character is you're going to have to actually go ahead and get rid of bad company. The moment you remove bad company, you're going to start getting some good character. Somebody say, check your circle.
You've got to upgrade your friends. It ain't nothing bad. You just got to upgrade people in your life. But if you're the smartest person in your group, you need a new group. You cannot be the go-to person in the group. Don't worry about it. You have a gift. That you solve problems all the time. You can earn a lot of money. You know what people pay for in this country? They pay for expertise in this country. The moment you're an expert at something in America, you can make $1 million. All you gotta do is be an expert at one thing.
Sometimes there's something inside of you telling you that you are not enough. And since you feel like you're not enough, you start trying to do all this stuff to prove that you are enough. The problem is, people that you're trying to prove it to aren't even paying attention because they're so busy trying to prove to somebody else who isn't paying attention to the other person. And now we're all posting and proving, but inside we're dying. And you've got to know the places that you cannot go, whether it's on your phone, whether it's in your mind, because there are some places that you need to stay away from on purpose. Because if you go, it's going to kill your joy, it's going to kill your contentment, it's going to kill your sanity, it's going to kill your peace.
I don't know how many different ways I can say this. So many of us have to learn this the hard way. They act like they got love for you. Have your friends, have your family, have your relationships. But make sure you pay close attention to the circle, to your company that you keep. Because when you need them the most, I promise you, they will turn your back on you. You need to find you a group of friends. And you need to know in your heart of hearts that if you down, they gonna pull you up. And if they down, you gonna pull them up.
You know, I always say, you show me your crowd, I'll show you your future.
If you want to know where you are or what port you're on, look in your cell phone. Because your cell phone will tell me who you talk to. And whoever you spend your time talking to, that's the port you're on. You cannot surround yourself with blindness and expect to see. Can't run around with prejudiced people and not be prejudiced. You can't run around with arrogant people and not be arrogant. You cannot run with packs of angry women and expect to be happy and fulfilled. You cannot hang out with a bunch of defeated, going nowhere, no vision men and be an overcomer. You are who you hang around. Because if I am down and everybody else is down around me, then down becomes normal. But what makes down terrible is when you are down and you can still see up.
I'm begging you, man. I'm begging you from a man's point of view. Let go. Let go. Let go of these people who you know aren't for you.
Here's a big one. If you're not feeling it, find new friends. I'm being dead serious about this. This one is real big for me. Who you hang out with is a huge deal. And again, these are all tried and true things, right? We've heard you're the whatever of the 5 friends you spent. Like, that's real. That one, put in the bank. Like, if you're not feeling it, You need to go to meetup.com and go to 10 meetups of people that are hungry. Like, it's unbelievable what happened to me when I got into the Silicon Valley world and started meeting like Mark Zuckerberg and like Ev Williams and Sacco, like Travis. Like, it changed my life. This town, actually, it's fun for me to tell this story here. South by Southwest 2007 changed my life because I hung out. I forced myself to go to a Web 2.0, which later became social media, the current state of the internet conference, South by Southwest. And I was looking at all these kids. And by the way, this is when tech wasn't cool. Straight fucking nerds. But they were trying to change shit. They weren't here for kicks and giggles. They weren't here to hook up. They were here to like change the world. Like, I'm going to build a product that is going to be in every single person's hand. Like, and they have. Like, the Twitters and the Facebooks and the Ubers, they did. And it was the biggest impact of my career. And it's something I think a lot about now. So anyway, real practical. If you feel motivated by this conversation or you're intrigued by it, add one new winner friend.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
Add one new winner friend and cut one loser friend. Like, yeah, I know he's been your boy since 4th grade, but he sits at home and fucking smokes weed and plays 2K all day. Like, you can only love him so much.
If you look around you, take a look at the 5 people who you spend the most time with. Those people reflect not only who you are, but who you're going to become. So to me, once you've made the decision that you deserve to live a life that reflects every desire that you could ever have, and that you are capable of living at your full potential, then the next step is making the choice that you're going to surround yourself with people who've got the same mindset. Because even if all of y'all have not reached your goals, if you're striving together, that'll hold you accountable to keep moving forward. And they can pull you back on track when you get off track, right? That's really important. I think beyond that, I think that the people around you, being very selective of who you put yourself around is so important, because ultimately, the people who you place yourself around are going to be your support system once you do get to your destination.
Here's something real. Go home, cut your loser friend, and go find a winner friend. Go somewhere, go to meetup.com, go to a Facebook group, join some shit, DM the 800 people that you think make sure they're not bullshitting, they're like doing what you want, and just make one new friend. I see it, like D-Rock, like he's right, like, it's unbelievable to watch my team, like they get faster, they get smarter, they get more confident, right? It's real, man. It's real. Confidence and like hunger gets passed on to each other. It's like team dynamics. It's why like a great player that sucks shit can fuck a team up. Like, go audit your circle, add one more winner, decrease one more.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
The first way to get focus is to find purpose. The way to find purpose is you must identify what it is that you have to be purposeful in. Right when you are struggling with what to do, who you are, what's your next move, you are in an identity crisis. You are struggling with just who you are. See, you have not discovered who you are. You have to discover who you are in order to move you forward. If no one ever gave you the directions, let me just something. When you get up in the morning, you go get in the car or you walk out your door, you have a destination in mind. If you go outside with no destination, what do? You wander around. Once you don't have a destination, you are going to wander around. You cannot get in your car without a destination. Where do you drive? So you are in an identity crisis, the same thing I was in. So you have to find your purpose. So let me help you with this. If you are in this situation, the solution is the first thing. You have to do the thing that God gave you. You just have to identify your gift. That's the first thing. Until you do that, you can forget it. You'll never find your purpose, you'll never know your mission, you'll never know the reason. So I think we're in an identity crisis. I think you have to identify who you are and what your real gift is and pursue the gift. The Bible says your gift will make room for you, put you in the presence of great men. That's what your gift do. That's God. That ain't Steve. I'm telling you what God say. You ain't got to believe me. It's in your Bible. I'm just telling you the truth. I identified my gift. See, that's why when he said, Steve, you can sing. Whoa, hey, hold up, man. And that's not what I do. I've identified my gift. I'm in the joke-telling business. Your gift is like a tree trunk. Your gift is the trunk of a tree. On a tree, it has many branches. Now, because my gift is comedy, that's my tree trunk. That's what I was made for, the gift. Two things. Your career is what you paid for. Your calling is what you made for. So God took this tree trunk and made a lot of branches. Comedy made me a movie, a TV star, a radio star, or I could write books. But then what he made me for was to motivate people, to change people's lives by sending me through a process that was so hard for me to overcome. When somebody like you stands up and asks me a question, I know the answer without even thinking, because I've been processed. I've been homeless, so I know exactly what you're feeling. You feel me?
Mr. Schultz said to me, I don't think your current bank balance is a true indicator of your level of intelligence. I was happy to hear that. He said, I think you have plenty of talent and ability, and that you're much smarter than your bank balance indicates. And that turned out to be true. I was much smarter. My question to him was, then why isn't my bank balance bigger? And he said, you don't have enough reason for accomplishing great things. If you had enough reasons, you could do incredible things. You have enough intelligence, but not enough reason. That's the key. If you had enough reason. In my years of study, I've also discovered this. Reasons come first, and answers come second. Life has a strange way of hiding all the answers and disclosing them only to people who have been inspired to look for them, who have reasons to look for them. Put another way, when you know what you want, and you want it badly enough, you will find ways to get it. The answers, the methods, the solutions will become evident to you. Hey, what if you had to be rich? Are there any books and tapes on the subject? The answer is yes. There are plenty of good ones. But if you don't have to be rich, you probably won't read the books or listen to the tape. What drives us to find the answers is necessity. So work on your reasons first, answers second. Now, what are some of the reasons for doing well? It varies from person to person. I'm sure that if you did a little soul searching, you could come up with a fairly strong list of reasons why you want to accomplish great things. There are personal reasons, sometimes uniquely personal reasons. Some people do well for the recognition. Some do well because of the way it makes them feel. They love the feeling of being a winner. That's one of the best reasons.
My mom this morning knew I wasn't feeling good. She goes, honey, you need to cancel that talk. I'm like, Mom, I can't cancel on these people. It's like, you work so hard. Why does it matter? I go, Mom, I'm helping them. She goes, oh, then you need to go. Because they're about service. Okay, so in your life, I'll go a little bit more here, you guys. In your life, if you combine understanding your mess can be repurposed, understanding I'm just like you, understanding the RAS, understanding changing your identity, understand bending time, you have a shot. Combined with this industry, combined with the information you're getting. But if you don't change your identity, do you know how many people I've had as friends that got wealthy that aren't anymore? More than I have that are still wealthy. Do you know how many friends I have who lost a lot of weight and got in shape and aren't in shape anymore? Do you know how many friends I have that had a great relationship and marriage that aren't in that relationship and marriage? Does this sound familiar, Ken? You want to know why? Their internal thermostat doing all that crap back. I ain't going back. I know where I am. I got to change that thermostat. By the way, you change the thermostat through your association. Change the thermostat. By the way, associations read books, follow them on social media, listen to their podcasts, their audios, all that stuff. Subscribe to my podcast. It's on iTunes. Listen to my YouTube. It's all free. I make no money. This is work. My podcast cost me about $1 million. I do it to help people. I'm here today to help you. I was paid to be here today, but it's one of the only things I do to get paid anymore to help you. I'm here to help. I'm here to change your life. I spent the first 45 years of my life building my legacy and my dream, and I want to spend the second half helping other people build theirs. I feel like it's my calling and my mission in my life is to help people. It's sort of my form of ministry. I trickle God in there just a little bit, but not enough to be offensive. I give people the tools, skills, and inspiration to do it. I want to change the world. I want 1 billion people to change their lives to be a force for good. And let me explain to you why. I think the world is more screwed up and divided than it's ever been in the history of mankind. You're either a Democrat or a liberal or a Republican or a this or a that or black against white. If you're in our country right now, evidently, if you're a white male, your enemy are brown people who are coming across our borders, right? If that's not your enemy, then if you're a Christian, your enemy is a Muslim. If that's not your enemy, then if you're black, your enemy is white privileged male, right? By the way, really your enemy, if they're a Christian, white privileged, successful, married male, then they're really bad guys, right? And what we do is we enemy each other constantly in this world. We're more divided than we've ever been. People are broke. They're struggling. They want to blame somebody. The bottom line is people don't like their lives. They're not happy with their lives. They're looking for someone to blame. Politicians, Trump and Obama, I don't care who you like, they're both incredible at getting you to subtly blame someone else for your conditions.
Those are confidants, and every person, not just every leader, every person needs a few confidants in your life with whom you can be transparent, and then you won't be so lonely all the time. This man is in cage because there's nobody walking with him. There's nobody who's got his rhythm. There's nobody who's got his pace. And then there are constituents. And this is the vast majority. This is the big category of what happens in church. Constituents are distinctly different from confidants. Confidants are for you. Constituents are for what you are for. They line up with the cause. They're called to the cause. They join your church because you feed homeless people. They join your church because of your foreign missions. They join your church because you're going to heaven. They join your church because you believe in faith and you teach the word. They join your church. They are not for you now. They are not for you. They are for what you are for. They're going your way. They are for what you're for. What's the highway we came in on? What's the number? I-5. You're on I-5. They're on I-5. You're going in the same direction. They're going your way. They are for what you are for. They're not for you. And you have to understand that because they're attracted to the direction you're going in. But if they see a car that will get them there quicker, they will leave you because they were never for you. They were for where you were going. And if somebody else can get them there quicker than you, they will hop out of your car and dive into their car and go down the road because they were never attracted to you. They were attracted to your direction. And these are constituents. They are for what you are for. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that until you mistake a constituent for a confidant. And you have a personal relationship with a public person and you think they are there for you and they were never there for you. They were there for what you were for. And then there are comrades. The third category is comrades. Now, comrades are not for you, and they are not for what you are for. They are just against what you are against. They're comrades. They are attracted to you because you have a common enemy, and they will be with you as long as the fight exists. But when the fight is over, they are gone. It's like the past election. I'm gonna be very careful because we get in politics, we'll all fight. In the past election, when McCain and Hillary Clinton got together to attack Obama, McCain and Clinton wouldn't get together about nothing except they were both against Obama. Sometimes people only join you because you have a common enemy. They're comrades. They're with you in the struggle. And in the trenches, they're wearing your uniform. But when the fighting stops, you will be attacked in your own foxhole. If you bring a comrade too close to you, when your comrade gets through shooting at who you're shooting at, they will shoot you because they were never for you and they were never for what you were for. They were just against what you were against. You'd be surprised at the people who fight against stuff, just all kinds of stuff, abortion, same-sex marriage, all kinds of stuff. They're against the same stuff, but they're not for each other. They join together in the fight. You, as a leader, have to know why people hooked up with you. Because if you misallocate a person into the wrong category, you will be brokenhearted and wounded and end up in the cave because you thought a constituent was a confidant, thought a comrade was a constituent. When the fight was over there, you got shot in your own foxhole. And I don't care what you hear about on TV, there is no such thing as friendly fire. A bullet is a bullet. Where in the all-fire Bellimity did we get friendly fire from? Get closer. Friendly fire. There is no friendly fire. You shot me. What is a friendly bullet? A bullet go in your hind end saying, I like you, you know? Woo! You know, what's up with that? Because success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Who's with me on this, right? You make everybody else feel great. I mean, it's a horrible example. I hate it, but we all know an extraordinary spirit that took his own life just recently. Probably lit up more human beings than almost anybody alive when it comes to humor and joy. He made everybody else feel happy but himself. It's sad. You don't want that to be you. If there's any gift he can give besides his joy is the evidence of what you don't want to move towards. Nobody in this room is going to move towards that, but we do it at a little level. We die a little bit along the way by giving up what we really desire and believe in. And my goal is to make sure to see if we can wake that up. So, and by the way, fulfillment is as unique as there are people. Achievement, there's laws, right? You do this. Money, there are laws. Your body, there's laws. We all have biochemical, special, unique identities, but there's certain fundamentals. If you do them in mass, you're going to be overweight. If you do them differently, you're going to be fit and strong. Same thing with money. But fulfillment is as unique as art. Art is what one person thinks is beautiful, somebody else can think is ugly, and that's perfectly fine. Have you ever gone to an art museum and you see this big red square and they go, $10 million, you go, you gotta be kidding me. $10 million for that freaking square? I'll draw you a square. But someone else, no, look at the texture, the taste, the flavor. I can taste the paint from here. They have a different way of being fulfilled, right? So those are the two kind of lessons of life. So this is what I'd like to do to help you with both those today if you want to play with. Number one, let's take a look at what will give you the edge. Who's up for having a competitive edge in anything you do? Say I. And it's not BS and it's not positive thinking. It's something you can test because the edge is what's going to get more out of you. Second, I'd like to show you how to create a breakthrough. Who here has an area of your life where there's something you've struggled with for a while and you're sick of struggling with it and you're sick of making excuses and you want to actually change it today? Who's got one of those in your life? Say I. If you want to play full out, I can show you that. And the third element really affects the other two, and it's really the one that affects business and life, and that's the power of engagement. All of these are tied to engagement.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
Recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision. You can decide I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences. They're not stronger than I am. I'm in charge here. Next thing is separate what you do from who you are. That's what the guilt trap is about. See, a lot of folk won't let you forget what you used to do or what you have done, what mistakes you've made. All of us have made some mistakes in life. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. A lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. And that's what you call life. I didn't do it like that. Oh, you don't want me to live that down? How you want to keep on putting that in my face about what I did? Guess what? I'm not interested. That's what I did then. Won't do it today, so you are picking on an innocent man. Hello. So as you're in the process of reinventing your life, write a description of the kind of person that you want to be. What are the things that you must overcome? What qualities about your personality you know that you're going to have to change because those particular characteristics are liabilities to you? What are your assets? What are your strong points?
Your identity, your personal worth, the thoughts, concepts, and attitudes and beliefs you hold to be true about yourself are the thermostat of your life. They regulate everything. You have a money thermostat, a relationship thermostat, a fitness thermostat. And what happens in people's lives is they change the external results short term. No one's going to tell you this other than me. They start to change their conditions. I'm reading these books. I'm buying these properties. I've made a little bit of money. And your results begin to exceed. You start getting 85 and 90 degrees of results, but you didn't do the work to change your identity. You didn't change the thermostat your life is set at. And guess what starts to happen? I watch it over and over. You will thank me for this right here someday soon. The results get a little higher. They're 85. I closed a deal. I made a little money. I closed another one. I made a little money. I got this going. I've lost 20 pounds. Whatever it is. The results start to get higher than their set thermostat temperature. And guess what you do unconsciously? You don't even know you're doing it. You turn the air conditioner on of your life and you will cool it back down. Eventually get it right back where you're comfy, 75 degrees. Same thing happens when it goes bad. You're broke. The water's turned off. The power's turned off. Your car gets repossessed. They dynamite your property. You find a way to turn the heater on and get it back. The key to life is not the knowledge you learn. You have to have that. Knowledge is not power if it's not applied. The key in life is changing that internal thermostat. And if you don't change that, listen to me. It'll seem coincidental. Yeah, something happened to the property. It was a bad rain. Construction costs went up. The market conditions changed. The interest rate went up. No. It's not coincidental. It's not. You cooled your life back down because you didn't do the work on who you are. The thing I have in my life is I associate with higher and higher identity people more and more and more in my life. That's what this group does for you. Begin to power of association. The people you associate with heat you up. If any of you that are religious, if you weren't fit, let's say you hung around someone in this room that's super fit and you were out of shape. You can't be around that person constantly and not start to eat differently, start to think differently. If you're a person of faith, and you're around someone who's a high thermostat temperature person of faith, you're around them all the time, you start to behave differently. If you're a man in the room and you start to hang around guys who are true to their wife and love their wife and are faithful to their wife and compliment their wife and hold their wife's hand, they do all that stuff, they date their wife, you can't help but change your thermostat. Same with money. You don't think Sylvester Stallone and Phil Knight and John Elway and Tony Robbins had an impact on me?
But most of all, success is making your life what you want it to be, considering all the possibilities, considering all the examples. What do you want for your life? That is the big question. Remember, success is not a set of standards from our culture, but rather a collection of personal values, clearly defined and ultimately achieved. Success is your better life for you, the design you give it, the dreams you accomplish. Making your life what you want it to be for you, that is success. One morning at breakfast, shortly after I met Mr. Show, he asked me if he could see my current list of goals. He said, "Let me see your list of goals, and let's go over them and talk about them. Maybe that's the best way I can help you right now." And I said, "I don't have a list." He said, "Well, is it out in the car or at home somewhere?" I said, "No, sir, I don't have a list anywhere." He said, "Well, young man, that's where we better start." Then he added, "If you don't have a list of your goals, I can guess your bank balance within a few $100s, which he did, and that got my attention. I said, "You mean that if I had a list of goals, that would change my bank balance?" He said, "Drastically." That day I became a student of how to set goals. And sure enough, when I learned how, my whole life changed. My income, my bank account, my personality, my lifestyle, my accomplishments.
So their lifelong dream is to have the restaurant experience, but their idea of the restaurant is based by what goes on in the front. And then they get hired, and now they're working in the back where there's pushing and shoving, and you find out who comes late and who you can't depend on. And so-and-so's real anointed, but they also are a liar, and they get on your nerves, and they're egotistical maniac. Can I be real up in here this morning? And they're like shocked and flabbergasted and saying, "Oh God, I'm gonna have to leave this ministry. I never thought in the world." Baby, you signed up for the restaurant, but we hired you in the kitchen. And I'm just wondering, have you hired your customers? Because they find those type of people sign on and they come on to have these grandiose spiritual extravaganzas. They want to have this moment. It's like people who move to your church because you were in a conference, because they think the conference goes on every Sunday. And then they come back a few Sundays and all them extra people are not there. Israel Houghton is not singing this morning. It's Clarabelle Wilson. And she just a skipping and a singing, and she can't sing worth jack, you know? And they say, "Where is Israel?" Israel is gone, baby.
If you know the road ahead, you have an incredible power called anticipation. Anticipation is the ultimate advantage. See, winners, leaders anticipate, losers react. The reason you get beat is you don't know where things are happening, so you're reacting. Reaction is always stressful. And yet so much of our life is predictable if we just were to study it, not be caught up in our day-to-day. It's predictable the challenges you're gonna have in your relationships, or with your kids, or with your body, or with your job, or with your economics, or with your mother-in-law or father-in-law. These are predictable. And if you would anticipate these things and put a strategy in place, you could take it all out and have the quality of life that you deserve. In business, it's everything. Those that anticipate, those that lead, and then there's those that follow. The followers are the reactionaries. So the more we can anticipate, and you can't anticipate and lead unless you first learn how to lead yourself at a different level. And so I love to have you just see that if you and I can start to take control of our focus, and we can start to control the meaning of our lives and make something really the meaning that empowers us, because look, what's wrong is always available, isn't it? There's always an Ebola, a bird flu, there's always something that's gonna kill the entire human race tomorrow on TV. And then there's your life. What's wrong is always available, and so is what's right. And you have to take control of that focus, because otherwise you become the follower and you get to live your life. Even though you're a smart person, we're all smart, but it's easy to get led astray by everybody else's focus, isn't it? And then all of a sudden let them create the meaning for us. And then all of a sudden we're settling for a life far less than what we desire or deserve. So my approach is really simple. My approach is to say, let's, you and I, just for a few little time we have here. By the way, this to me is a little time, a couple hours, 2.5 hours, I guess, at this stage. Because kind of the minimum length of seminar I do is 50 hours, 50. And you go, are you kidding me? I don't like to hear myself talk. I like to see people do things so often they build muscle, not just thoughts. And so one thing I'm going to ask you to do in a few minutes is we're going to go from this passive mode that you're in right now into full engagement. Because if you get fully engaged, it's amazing what you can accomplish and do. When you're partially engaged, you get a little bit of result. When you're disengaged, we all know what you get, nothing. And we live in a society where most of us are so overwhelmed. There's so much information. We're not having any problem with information. We're being drowning in information, but we're starving for wisdom. And so we got to separate it out. And so one way to separate it out is I'd like to talk to you about 3 things that can help you increase your performance and your life. Because what I'm obsessed by and have been for 37 years is what can increase performance for an individual or an organization. But also I'm equally obsessed about what's going to make somebody fulfilled. Because who's had this horrible experience? Who here has ever achieved your goal and then your brain said, is this all there is? Who's had this experience here? Say, I. And that's worse than failing. At least when you fail, your brain can say, I can figure this out and do it again a new way. But when you succeed and you're miserable, you're basically technically screwed.
People's opinion of you is none of your business, nor should you make it yours. You get in a lot of trouble worrying about what somebody think about you. Do not let other people's opinion of you determine your direction. They don't know you, they don't know what's best for you, they don't know the plans for you, they don't know your real direction. And most of these people who have opinions of you are not even really well-meaning people. The answer to your success lies purely between you and your relationship with God. You need to look closely at the person that's providing you their opinion. Do they take their own advice? Do they listen to others when others advise them? Hardly ever, man. Be careful when you are taking direction from people who are not where you're trying to go. I was listening to Joel Osteen on TV one day. He said, other people's opinion of you is none of your business, nor should you make it yours. Remember this, people's opinion are just their opinion. They don't know you.
To me, successful is getting to the point where you are absolutely comfortable with yourself. It does not matter how many things you have acquired. The ability to learn to say no and not to feel guilty about it, to me, is about the greatest success I have achieved. The fact that I have, in the public side, done whatever, it's all a part of a process for growing for me. But to me, to have the kind of internal strength and internal courage it takes to say, no, I will not let you treat me this way, is what success is all about. It's the same thing that prevents you from being abused as a child, that prevents you from being abused as an adult, that allows you to build success for yourself. I will not be treated this way. I demand only the best for myself. All the mistakes I've made in my life, I've made because I was trying to please everyone. Every one of them. There's not one that I've made because I did something because I really wanted to do this for myself. Every mistake I've ever made is because I went outside of myself to do something for somebody else that I should not, to please them, just for the purpose of pleasing them. You are worthy to say no. That it's okay if you say no. It's okay if you say no and then people don't like you. That's really okay. The important thing is how you feel about what you're doing, how you feel about yourself. It's a long struggle though. And I'm just hoping that, you know, in the work that I do on the show and the speaking that I do around the country, and that young people who are watching this can get the lesson sooner than I did. Because it's painful, because you keep repeating it over and over and over.
Here's another big one. Learn to say no. I'm telling you, in such a social society we have now, it's so easy to try to be a nice person, saying yes, yes, yes to everything. Find yourself overloaded. Now you got to call and make the, well, gosh, you know, all the time it takes to back out of something that you said yes to too quickly. My friend Ron Reynolds says, don't let your mouth overload your back.
I used to be one of those people who had the disease to please. I said yes many times when I knew I should have been saying no, and then I would be mad at myself for saying yes. You say yes, then you're mad when they come back again. Because when you say yes, when you really mean no, people follow the intention of the yes. Because why do you say yes? You say yes because you don't want the person to be upset with you. They're not. You don't want the person to be angry. You want the person to think you're nice. They do. And that is why they keep coming back. Nothing is showing up in your life that you didn't order there. So what I learned is that the reason why people keep showing up is because my intention is to make them think that I'm such a nice person, that you can ask me for anything, you can get me to do anything. I'm going to say yes, I'm going to say yes. So many times you will have angst and worry about things, and you will put yourself in a state when the other person really isn't even thinking about you. A lot of women have a disease to please, and a lot of women, I think I was in my mid-40s before I started to figure this out. You want to be successful, you want to do well, but you're so, just what she was talking about, you're so worried about what other people are going to say about it. I was saying earlier, you're worried about people saying who she thinks she is. I don't want people to think that I'm better than they are. I don't want people to think. How do you continue to move forward and live with the haters?
I think that women are so loving and so nurturing and so giving, but here's a mistake that women and some men make as well. You cannot have a private relationship in a public arena. You cannot do that. You look to an inner circle of people who really know you for that validation, that pleasing, that strength, that understanding. Don't expect to have that kind of intimate relationship with people who just know you publicly and peripherally. Don't seek to be understood by the world. Most of our great leaders, world changers, thinkers were understood better after their life than during their life. So if you need everybody to understand you before you do it, I got bad news. You're going to be dead before you're fully understood. You better go ahead. You better go ahead and live on purpose and understand it's like a woman who's pregnant and goes to the doctor and says, I want to have this baby, but I don't want my ankles to swell. I don't want this mask on my face, and I don't want to gain any weight. And he's going to tell her there's no way you can have the baby because this goes along with it. That goes along with purpose. Haters are a part of the process. Go ahead and take it. Just get a bigger dress, do something, keep on going.
Some people, no matter what you do, are not going to be for you. Not everyone is going to like you or understand you. How much time are you spending worried about what they're saying? Trying to pay that friend back for making you look bad. You don't have time for all that pettiness. Let it go in one ear and out the other, and use that energy to move toward your God-given dreams.
So one of my favorite quotes by Ralph Waldo Emerson is that the most difficult thing for a man to do is to be himself in a world that's constantly trying to change him. So what do? Easier said than done, but what I have to do is you've got to ignore everyone. If you want to be true to yourself without being sullied by the opinions, either good or bad, negative or positive, because they're both forms of slavery, you've got to close your door, you've got to shut off your phone, you've got to shut off your computer. You've got to sit down, you've got to be with yourself and God and let it speak through you purely. Become a hollow reed, unobstructed by the opinions, positive and negative, of other people.
What people think about you and the possibilities for your dream is none of your business. They have no imagination, ladies and gentlemen. Let me share something with you. History is being read, but it's also being written by people with imagination. You've got to find ways to increase your sense of self-appreciation, because if you don't program yourself, life will program you. Are you surrounding yourself with people that can nourish you? Is your life an adventure, or is it boring? You don't want to ever put yourself into a situation where you have a limited vision and you're only using a limited amount of your talents and of your abilities.